Okay, so first of all, my name is Tom Judson. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Property Owners Association. We have Selena here from the ACC, and we have Mayor Flynn here from the city. So what we're going to ask you to do is, in your packet is this document. It has all three logos on top. Okay, so what we do in many communities, the city is by and large everything, okay? But here we're a little bit different. We call it the three-legged stool, okay? So on the far left, you have the city of Bella Vista, elected officials. The city is in charge of the police, the fire, the roads, building permits, those types of things, okay? And Mayor Flynn's going to speak in just a couple minutes, and he'll be able to give you a little bit more than just the cliff notes that I gave you, okay? And then all the way to the right-hand side is the ACC, okay? Architectural Control Committee. So if you're going to be repainting your house, you're going to have to make sure that it's a color that's going to fit in the area. I always like to use the example, you don't want your neighbor to paint your house bubblegum pink. Wouldn't necessarily be a good look. So you're going to work with the ACC, and Selena's also going to speak a little bit later, and she's going to clarify what their role is, okay? And then the POA is in the middle. We're the fun department. We're Parks and Rec, almost like that. We run the golf courses, the lakes, several restaurants, the fitness facilities, and just to make it confusing, we're also the water utility, okay? So those are the three divisions. And what is great is we all work well together. Our Member Resources Department gets about 40 to 50,000 calls a year, and half of those calls are not POA related. They're city, they're ACC, they're wastewater, but they're great about helping out everybody else. And sending our property owners in the right direction so they can talk to the right people. And the city is the same thing. They get questions about the ACC or the POA, and they're great about sending people in the right direction. Okay? All right. Okay, now in your packet, if you grab places to play, we're going to go over this map. Okay. So years ago, when Deb came to me, and she's going to speak in just a few moments. She came to me, she's in charge of all the volunteers here, and she said, we need to have a meeting with all our new residents because we need to give them information. And it's always been a great idea because years ago, I remember talking to a property owner, and I thought they were a brand new property owner, and we were talking about Metfield. And I go, hey, so when's the last time you've been to Metfield? And they said, well, I haven't been there. Okay, well, they got a lot of great stuff. How long have you lived here? 20 years. They had never been. Okay, so you guys are brand new, and you're going to know more than some of our long-term property owners. So we're going to start on the far left side, the west side. Okay, you see where that little target is? That's where our gun range is. Okay, so we have pistol, rifle, skeet, and trap. And this last year, we did a major renovation of our pistol and rifles area. I've been told it's one of the best pistol and rifle ranges in the state. Okay, so it's something to be very proud of. Also, skeet and trap, if that's what you're into. They got great employees out there. Carol has been there for like 30 years, and he's just awesome. So if that's something that interests you, head on out there. Now we're going to move over to Highlands Golf Course, 18-hole golf course. Last year we renovated the fairways. We now have Myers Zoysia, and the fairways are just looking just perfect, and it's spring. So you can see the common Bermuda, which is in the rough, is still struggling because the nighttime temperatures are still coming up. But the Myers Zoysia just looks awesome. Also at that location, we have a great bar with a patio that you can look out onto the golf course, and there's a nice pub and pizzeria there. So you can go get some pizza, sit on the patio, look at golfers, put water into the lake. Outstanding. The jokes don't get better. Just want to be clear on that. They don't get any better. Okay, Branchwood. That's our second largest fitness facility. It's on the west side, and it's kind of a hub of activity. We also have 6 pickleball courts at that location, and then we have a 1.5 mile walking trail, and that walking trail is also a disc golf course. So it's a great place if you like doing disc golf. It's great. I've been told that that disc golf course has been rated in the top 10 in the state. So that's pretty cool. And then we have our only indoor pool at that location, and then gym facilities, group fitness, and so forth. So a lot of stuff going on in that area. Then we're going to go straight south, and we're going to see the marina. Okay, the marina is on Loch Lomond. It's a smaller fishing pro shop, so if you need real serious stuff, you're going to go to Bass Pro, but if you need quick and easy stuff, you can go to the marina. You can also rent boats, pontoon boats. You can rent kayaks, sup boards, which are stand-up paddle boards. You can get all those at that location, okay? And there's also a fishing dock at that location. The Fly Tires and the POA worked together about 6, 7, 8 years ago and put in that fishing dock at that location. Also in that area, we have Lake Point. It's kind of our marquee restaurant. It's on the water. It's just a beautiful location where you can sit out on the patio, look out at the water, and the way the sunset comes down over the mountains and the lake, it's just a beautiful setting. We do a lot of weddings at that location. We have a wine tasting room there. So just a great place to go get a nice meal and sit out on the patio. Also, we have Scottsdale. Another 18-hole golf course. It's got a really small bar, but it has a great patio that you can go out on. I've gone there several times, not even playing golf, just to sit out, and it's from kind of a high perch, and you look down, just a great location. All right, the beach. Okay, it's almost that time of year. We have a beach here, and it's outstanding. It is, I tell you what, the day we opened up the beach was probably the day we realized we didn't make it big enough. It's just an outstanding location. So if you have kids, grandkids, it's great to take them there. At that location, we also have a sand volleyball court, and we have like a kids zip line playground equipment, so it's really cool. And it's got a great swim area, so we actually block off the swim area so boats can't get into that area, and the kids can swim out to like this little area, this little like floating dock, and they can jump and have a great time. So it's just a great place to take the kids. Also, you can rent kayaks and supboards at that location, and we sell all forms of sugar in that. We want to make sure we wind the kids up, so we sell ice cream and candy bars and fruit, everything. We're going to wind up those kids and then send you home with them. All right, now I'm going to jump way over to the right side, okay? We're going to come back to the middle. We're going to go all the way over to Met Field. Okay, we have an 18-hole golf course there, and we have a 9-hole golf course there at that location. Also, really close to that location is a bike skills park. Okay, so if you have kids that are wanting to learn how to mountain bike, there is a bike skills park that was donated several years ago by the Trailblazers, and so they can go use that area. Nice. We have a large pool complex in that area, getting ready to open up once we hit Memorial Day. We have 4 pickleball courts. We have our largest play set for kids. And it's also the start of the Razorback Greenway. So the Razorback Greenway is a 10-foot wide concrete path dedicated to walking, mountain biking, road biking, all that stuff. You can start at that location and go 40 miles south to Fayetteville the entire way. So, and it starts here. Is that cool or what? So I've been the entire way, not all at one time, but and it's just a beautiful ride. So think about that, and it goes by, we're going to go to the south, see where the Gear Garden is, okay? So the Gear Garden is our version of a beer garden. It's right next to the Razorback Greenway. It's a great place to go get a beer. We've partnered with Bentonville Brewing, and so we have Trailhead Lager, and you can only get Trailhead Lager in the city of Bella Vista. So you want to come to the Gear Garden. We have on a regular basis, we have music groups. We even have stuff for the kids. We'll have face painting and stuff like that. And there's this little stream that goes through it. And what the employees, and this was their idea, they call it the Gear Garden Marina, where they have these little boats and the kids will take them, they'll put them in the water and they'll come down and the parents go, that's great, and keep on drinking. So it's good stuff. Also at that location is we have a 60 slot RV park. So that's kind of neat. And we also do primitive camping. Primitive camping is where you sleep on the ground. I have no idea why you'd want to do that, but if you're into that, outstanding, we can set you up. Get to my age and no, you don't want to do that. We also have tiny cabins, which are really cool. You can rent those out, so we'll have groups, we'll rent those out. If you're claustrophobic in any way, you don't want to get one of those because tiny cabins, they are tiny. But they're really cool because it's in a very natural setting, and it's just a great place to go have a good family adventure. Once again, right next to the Razorback Greenway. And we call Blowing Springs kind of the gateway to the trails. In Bella Vista, we have over 120 miles worth of soft surface trails, and really the starting point is at Blowing Springs. So a great place to go have a lot of fun. All right, we're going to move over to Kingsdale. Okay, that's where we are right now. We're in that Kingsdale kind of area. This is BVRC. Bella Vista Recreation Center. It is our largest fitness facility. Also, we do a lot of group stuff in here. We'll do group meetings. We've had dances here. A lot of clubs will rent out different rooms and so forth. And our fitness facility, which is right over there, is 24-hour access. So during the daytime, you check in at the counter, and then we have a fob-in system. So if you want to work out at 4 o'clock in the morning, outstanding, we're behind you. You can go work out. What it really helps you on is if you want to work out on Sunday afternoons, we close early because it's Sunday. Well, if you want to work out on Sunday afternoon, get a fob, you can go work out, outstanding. Also, across the street, we have our tennis facility with a tennis pro shop, and we do instructions and so forth. We have 8 tennis courts down there. And then if you head all the way down to the end, we have Little Sugar Bistro, and a nice restaurant. And also we have an 18-hole golf course there and a 9-hole golf course at that location. So in this area, we have a lot of activity going on. And right next to us, we have our largest pool complex that'll be opening up, outdoor pool complex that'll be opening up pretty soon. So a lot of stuff going on in this area. And then over here, we have the putt-putt course that you can use. So a lot of fun stuff in this area going on. And then we're going to go straight north. And that is to Tanyard Creek. Tanyard Creek, we got a couple of Tanyard Creek employees here. Okay, Tanyard Creek. If you have family in town and you can only go on one hike, go to Tanyard Creek. Okay, it is beautiful, beautiful waterfall, and you can make it as long or as short as you want, the hike. So you can make it a really short hike, you know, if you have people that don't want to go that far or can't go that far. But you can also make it longer and go across the suspension bridge that kind of sways and freaks out my dog when we go across it. So it's a really great location. Also, is Tanyard Creek is our practice center. Very, very busy. So if you're into golf, you want to go down there. We'll do about 65 to 70,000 buckets of balls at that location this year. If you want lessons, we have a great lesson program down there. We have classes for kids, we have classes just for ladies, we have classes for everybody that wants to learn. We have just all different kind of stuff. We also have an indoor simulator. So if it's raining outside or it gets to be winter and there's snow on the ground, you can keep on playing golf because we have an indoor simulator. We have a great pro shop. We have 2 indoor teaching bays. And also what's fun about that is the range is mowed by autonomous mowers, little Roombas going out there, and the balls are picked up by autonomous pickers. So you see these little guys running around all the time picking up. So it's kind of fun to sit out there. We have a nice patio area where you can sit down and have a nice beer and then point at your buddy as he's hitting slices back and forth. So we have a lot of fun at that location. All right, so that's just about everything. So we offer so much. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, when you moved in, our member resources team probably told you about the activity card. The activity card costs you $40. That gives you unlimited free access to the gym facilities, so all 3 gym facilities. I forgot to mention that we have a smaller gym facility over at Metfield. So the activity card gives you unlimited gym access, free green fees at Brittany Golf Course, the 9-hole golf course. If you want a cart, it costs like $5. It's going to give you 10% off your food purchases at POA run restaurants, which is a great value. It's going to give you unlimited access into our pools for free and the beach. And then it's going to get you into the gun range and the skeet and trap for free. Now at Skeet and Trap, if you need to buy the clay targets, that's going to cost you money, but the admission is going to be free. So that's a great value if you want to look at that. So speak with Member Resources. And last of all, I mentioned the trails. We have 120 miles of trails, soft surface trails. Those are managed jointly between the POA and the city. So we do it jointly. We work together on this. So another example of how the 3-legged stool is different, but it works, and we make it work because this is a great place that you chose to live, and we wanted to welcome you here. John's up.
Thank you, Tom. That was a really great speech. I even heard some cheering at one point during the speech. Did you hear that? So, I want to tell you a little bit about the city. The things the city is in charge of are fire and EMS, and police, and streets, and the library. Those are the main things. Intergovernmental relations has gotten to be a bigger and bigger thing because there's a lot of things we deal with on a regional basis. And we have I found out the last few years that this area, Northwest Arkansas, is known for having more regional cooperation than anywhere else in the state of Arkansas. So I think that's a great thing. You know, we get together with the other cities and try and figure out how to do things on a regional basis, maybe be more efficient, that sort of thing. There's a bunch of things pending in that area right now. So I'm going to start with a couple of new things that happened. In November, we passed a bond issue, and it was a continuation of a 1% sales tax. So it was not an increase, but it was an extension. And it passed with over 70% of the vote, which made me feel really good, the support from the citizens. And so it passed in November, and we had a closing on March 17. It's easy to remember because it's St. Patrick's Day. So we took down about $25 million on March 17, and we're already putting it to work. One of the things it covered was street paving for the next couple of years. And just as a side note, you know, we always go out for street bids in the spring. And this year, because of the whole thing with Iran, the oil price was high. And oil is a significant ingredient in asphalt. So I was very concerned about the bids, and to my surprise, they came in really well, better than usual, about $10 a ton less. I thought maybe we were going out for bids at the wrong time because of the situation. So we got a really good price on the streets. What we do, we'll have a budget for streets. Let's say it's a couple $1 million we're going to spend paving streets. So if the price is worse than we expected, we're paving less. We're spending $2 million either way. If the price is worse than we expected, we're paving less. And if it's better, we're paving more. So we're always happy when we get a good price because that means we're paving more streets. So, and then the people are happy too, obviously. So that was one big thing, that bond issue, and we're working on 3 communication towers, and that is for police and fire and streets for the communication with the dispatch system. We have our own dispatch, and it's located in the public safety facility, which is over on Forest Hills Boulevard. The dispatch is in there, and the courtroom's in there, and the police. So we actually, in 2020, was the first bond issue we'd ever had. Bella Vista's been a city since 2007, and when we passed that, it was to build a public safety facility, a new fire station on Glasgow, and the fire training tower, which is up north off of 71. And we've accomplished all those things. We completed all those. So this extension was actually a piggybacking off that original bond issue. So this is the second time we had a bond issue people voted on. So that's why I was so gratified that it did so well. So we've got the street paving going. We're buying some police cars. Every year we buy a few police cars because we drive them to about 120,000 miles. Then we have to replace them, so we rotate them out. The communication towers is a really big thing. It's going to have our communications for state-of-the-art for the next 40, 50 years. So we're pretty enthused about that. Our current system, which is one of many examples of our cooperation, we have our antennas right now on POA water towers, and it's been that way for many years. And one of the problems with that is the signal sometimes, if you can picture the antenna being on the signal goes through the water tower, and so you don't always get a good signal. That's why it's much better to have your own towers. And of course, it's pretty crucial communications, because it's for fires or police emergencies or ambulance. We have about 5,000 ambulance calls a year, so it's a very active area for our fire and EMS. And our fire and EMS has great medical training. We have a lot of paramedics, and everybody's a paramedic or an EMT, and it's really fabulous, the work they do. Very proud of them. So that's the one big thing, is the bond issue. The second big new thing many of you may be aware of is the Oz Bike Park, Oz Trails Bike Park. It's going in on the west side of 71, right across from Allen's, really near Oldham Drive there. And that's scheduled for a grand opening on June 12. They're going to have a soft opening in May, fairly early May actually. And that's going to have a big economic effect on the city, positive economic effect, as well as being a fun thing. And one thing I really like about it, it's 200 acres right in the center of town, right? And somebody could come in there and build apartments or build houses. And this way, you have a recreation facility, plus you're preserving the woods. It's going to remain wooded, so I think it's really a win-win for us. And basically, Bella Vista has become, whether we like it or not, and I say we like it, is that it's become known for outdoor recreation. Because we already had the lakes and golf courses. Now we have over 100 miles of trails. Walton Foundation spent over $20 million on our soft surface trails, and now we're getting more and more hard surface trails. So we're really fortunate. in the way other people have helped us in the area, particularly Walton Foundation, and it's had a huge effect on the city. And so outdoor recreation is our strong point, and I think it's going to continue to be that way and become even more that way. One of the things speaking of trails, one of the things we're pivoting to is, most of our trails are just straight up recreation, which is great. But, and the Waltons are kind of pivoting this way, and the city of Bella Vista is also, is to have more trails that get you from point A to point B, whether you're walking or on a bike or whatever, hard surface trails. And we're expecting, extending the Razorback Greenway. It's going to come over, go under 71 and be on Reardon Road. It's going to go as far as that park behind Fat Tire over there on Reardon. And the plan is that eventually it would go all the way to the Missouri border. So that's one of the big things that's happening. And but I want to put a real emphasis the next few years on side paths on the major roads. And that's something that people who ride bikes like, and people who walk like, and people who drive cars like, because it's so much safer if you can get people off the main road. And we have some roads where there's a lot of room on the side, and it looks pretty easy to do, and some where it's a little more challenging, the topography. You look off the side of the road, and it looks like air. So, but it is a challenge money-wise, but it's something we're starting to really try to do more of. And we even started doing some side paths. There was one recently, a group called Arkansas Moves helped us with, where it goes from Kingsland and goes around to Metfield, where the pool is over there at Metfield. And that way you can travel. It's dirt. They just scraped and made a dirt path. So we're going to have side paths of every which way we can come up with to try and help people. And I drive by there all the time, and you see people on that. We just created that path about a month ago, and you see people on it all the time. So they're off the road, and it's good for everybody. And this might not surprise you, dirt's a little cheaper than asphalt, but we like to have some that are asphalt, some that are dirt. We want to have every variety. So that's some of the big things that have happened recently. One of the other things we're doing with the bond, we're doing some refurbishing over on Fire Station number 1, or building, I should say. We already have the city administration offices on the first floor are completed, and the fire station offices for the fire station officers are completed, and the living quarters for people in Fire Station number 1 are completed. All that's done. And the part you see they're still working on over there by Lancashire is for planning and development and permitting. So it'll be closer to the street. They actually get a lot more foot traffic than City Hall does because, people are coming there for permits and building and things like that. And speaking of building, as you probably wouldn't be surprised to hear, our building's been very active. We had 500 some permits in 2022 and 636 in 2023. And now this last year, we were up to 787. And this year is clipping along pretty much at the same rate, maybe a little higher. So that's all single-family homes, and it's mostly one-offs. As you know, the whole city's set up, and it's just infill, so it's extraordinary. And I was a little surprised to hear that oftentimes we have more single-family home starts than any place in Northwest Arkansas, more than Bentonville, Fayetteville, Springdale. It's become a very attractive place, and people want to be here. That makes me feel good, on the one hand. On the other hand, I'm really dedicated to trying to preserve the reason people want to be here, and that's our good atmosphere. And actually, the POA helps with that, because the common property, the lakes, the golf courses, that's all open space. Right now, City of Bella Vista has about 699 people per square mile. And the cities south of us, Bentonville, Fayetteville, Springdale, they have 1,500 to 1,800 per square mile, and increasing pretty rapidly because you can see how they're throwing up a lot of apartments and whatnot. Now, we may have some apartments, but we're not going to be like those other. You know, my wife and I used to live in Rogers, and now we drive down there, and every time we turn the corner, there's a new apartment on the vacant lot. It's really quite startling. So we're going to try, one of my big goals is to try to keep our nice, relaxed atmosphere and the outdoor recreation and that sort of thing. And I think we can do it. I think we're positioned in a way. You know, all of Northwest Arkansas is going to grow. There's a lot of talk in these regional meetings. We're pushing 600,000 people, and we're projected to have 1 million by the year 2050 in Northwest Arkansas. So that's happening, and so it's important how you run your city and how you guide things. So anyway, that's just food for thought, I guess you'd say. I want to tell you a little about some of the recent construction. A couple are things people ask me about. One is Lake Bella Vista, and that technically is in Bentonville, but you know, people have been a little frustrated. They used to walk around the lake, and you know, the dam was destroyed, and it hasn't looked good for a few years. So Bentonville's getting going on it now, and there's a big project down there. And when all's said and done, it's going to be a free-flowing stream, and I think it'll be quite attractive. I think they're working hard to make it attractive. The second big thing that's just totally visual is right here when you get off 71 at Lancashire. You know, people have asked me about that area. It's kind of not on the Harp side, but on the back side of that, and you see it when you get off. It hasn't been super attractive. That's owned by Cooper, and they're fixing it up now. And that large project you see is strictly landscaping. So we've been trying to get them to do that for a while, and now that they're doing it, I see it's a bigger project than I might have imagined. But if you look at their plans, I think it'll be quite attractive when they're done. So I think that's going to be a big plus. Other things, we're getting new Domino's at the same location, 340 and 71. It's over on, I guess I'd characterize it as the southeast corner. It's near the Goodwill. We're getting, of course, I mentioned the new Austrails Bike Park. Blue Crane's going to do a facelift at Sugar Creek Shopping Center. And there's a new VA clinic going in on the west side on Rogers Road and 279. And that has been met with a lot of enthusiasm. The two clinics for veterans right now are in Fayetteville and Joplin. So that's quite a distance between them. And of course, driving to Fayetteville has become more exciting than it used to be, particularly when you're older, you know. So they asked me to come speak at the groundbreaking. I said, sure. I thought there'd be 10 or 15 people there. You know, so I pull up, and there's like 300 people. I mean, the enthusiasm by veterans in the area, not just in Bella Vista, but the area is very high. And I think it's a very needed facility. So that's going to be a great thing. I just thought I'd run through a few upcoming events. May 3, that's tomorrow, is the first day of the Farmers Market. It's going to be over at Sugar Creek Shopping Center now, so it's a slight relocation. May 8 is a soft opening of Oz Bike Park. May 16 at 9:30 is coffee with the mayor at the Police Training Center. That's Saturday morning. May 21 to 24 is an Oz stage race starting in Bella Vista. And this is one of the subtle ways the bike park is helping us. All the bike races, virtually all of them, start in Bentonville and end in Bentonville, and 2/3 of the race is in Bella Vista. So we get all the joy of having our police work and make sure nobody runs anybody over, you know, handling all the intersections. And Bentonville gets all the publicity and says, look at this great bike race. It's quite annoying to some of our planning people and whatnot. We get the work and they get all the joy. And now, because of Blue Crane and now's Bike Park, all of a sudden there's a major bike race starting in Bella Vista and ending in Bella Vista. So it just shows you there's a lot of subtle influence that you might not even think about. So that's a plus. Let's see, May 25, Memorial Day. There's always an event at the Wall of Honor. I don't have the time on that. It's usually 10 or 11 a.m. And it's a really good event, really well attended. People are really respectful of veterans here. And there's a lot of people from Bella Vista come, but a lot of people from the region that aren't from Bella Vista. So that's a really nice event. July 3, these are a couple of the biggest events in Bella Vista, number of people-wise. July 3 is the fireworks at Loch Lomond Dam. And July 4, there's a parade at Sugar Creek Shopping Center. The parade seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and this year is the 25th year of the parade. We're the only 4th of July parade in Northwest Arkansas this whole time. It's the 25th year, and of course it's also the 250th year for the country. So I think the parade's gonna be bigger and better than ever. Just thought I'd mention those few things. So really quickly, a few future goals. I'd like to increase the number of houses on sewer. We have about 3,900 on sewer. So that leaves about 13,000 on septic. And we'd like to bite into that a little better than we have been. I'd like to increase the paved roads. There's more and more building going on unpaved roads. And we're trying to take a bite out of that. Every year we do at least, you know, when the street department figures out what they're gonna pave, they do at least 2 miles. There's about 14 miles of unpaved roads with houses on them. So we do at least 2 miles every year, and we're gonna try and up that a bit. We wanna increase the connectivity, walking and biking. And that's kind of the thing I was talking about with the side paths and things like that to make it safer for everyone. We want to increase business and restaurants while still maintaining the nice environment, which is, I kind of already described that. So that's what's happening, and I appreciate your attention. We will have questions afterwards when everybody's done. So, yeah, okay. And our next speaker is Selena Lee of the ACC.
Good morning. So yes, Tom and the mayor, they talk a lot. I don't. So mine's going to be short and quick. With, you know, Bella Vista, we call it the, you know, three-legged stool. We're the third leg over here, but we try to keep things looking good, keeping your property values at where they're at, or maybe even increase, things like that. So yeah, in a normal city, you would get building permits, and that's about as far as it would go. But for us here in Bella Vista, you have to get your permits from the city, and then anything exterior you do to your property, whether you paint, re-side, re-roof, add a shed or a fence or anything like that, there's additional restrictions that you would have to follow, and that's where our office comes in. And so we have those regulations on our website. We have them at our office. I think there's a little tidbit of info in your packets as well. But it's all, I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to do what you say. But it is the whole reason is to keep the property values looking good, keep the area looking good, and so it makes a big difference. You're attracted to this area, and part of that reason is because we've worked hard to keep it looking good and attractive. So another thing my office has is we have the historical records of Bella Vista, so before we were a city. So I want to offer to you, come by our office, get a plat of your property. It'll show your property lines, show the proposed location of where your house is or when it was supposed to be built. If you're on septic, we have that information as well. If you're on sewer, it'll give the proposed area of the grinder pump. But That's really nice to have just in general. But then you'll also be using that as well if you do any kind of future projects like a fence or a shed. You'll need that information for those projects. But you're always welcome to come by our office and get a copy. The city does have some of them on their portal, and so you can also look there as well. But yeah, basically, we try to keep everything looking good. So yeah, like I said, they talk more than I do. And then, yeah, I will stay after for any kind of questions that you want to ask just individually. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have. And if I can help in any other way, I'd love to help. So, and I think we're going to talk to Deb.
Yeah, thank you. I want to welcome all of you. I've communicated quite a few with you through the email. Anyway, my name is Debbie Sorensen, and I am one of the highly paid volunteers, as this entire room in the back and the side are all volunteers. And Bella Vista is a very, very special place. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you a very brief history, and then I'm going to turn it over to any questions that you might have of Tom and John and Selena. And then we're going to have a quick raffle. We have some books to give away and a couple water bottles that were donated by Pedal It Forward. And then the nonprofits will still be here if you have any questions. Bella Vista is a very unusual place because it started in 1915 as a summer resort. And as a summer resort, they had a couple come up from Bentonville. They flooded Little Sugar Creek and made Lake Bella Vista, and they were going to sell land and property. After 2 years, it was too much work. So they decided to sell to the three Linebarger brothers. And some of you are from Texas. The Linebargers are from Texas. They came up in 1917 and said, we're going to keep it at a 3-month resort. However, we're going to really add amenities. So some of you may have heard about the Wonderland Cave they opened as a facility for big band music. They opened the hotel that was up on the west side on by 71, actually right north across from Allen's, and they expanded the amenities to include a 9-hole golf course, which was multiple purpose because it was also a landing strip since there were no airports around. In 1952, E.L. Keith bought Bella Vista and the name Bella Vista, and again continued it as a 3-month resort. And then in 1964, John Cooper Sr., and some of you have heard the name Cooper, John Cooper Sr. and the Cooper Corporation bought Lake Bella Vista and turned it into Bella Vista Village. And they then purchased around 36,000 acres, is how big Bella Vista is. And basically you're talking from Walgreens up to the Missouri border. What John Cooper Sr. was going to do, it was he wanted a retirement community, and so he built the 7 golf courses, he built the 7 lakes, he opened a lot of the different amenities like the country club. He hired Ife Jones to design the Cooper Chapel. Some of you hopefully have seen the Cooper Chapel. That was after his wife passed away, and it's a beautiful facility. Ife Jones also designed the country club, and he was a student of Frank Lloyd Wright's, and very, very well known. The School of Architecture down in Fayetteville is named after Ife Jones. Anyway, as the Cooper Corporation grew, they they laid 550 miles of roads in Bella Vista, none of which are straight, and opened a lot of the Bella Vista, the amenities. So the Cooper Corporation really has been instrumental in expanding Bella Vista to the 12 months. I've been here 21 years, and it was 90% retirees, and now it's about 30%. So there has been a lot of change coming to Bella Vista, and there's a lot more change at this point. Once we voted in 2006, we voted to become a city. So in 2007, we became a city. John is actually only the 3rd mayor that we have had here. And it really, really is a neat city, as you know, with all the trees and all the beauty in the area. The Bella Vista Museum, we're over on Highway 71 at Kingston. We are open Wednesday to Sunday, 1 to 5, and it really, really helps to understand the history on Bella Vista, and we welcome anybody who wants to come. It is free, it's open to the public. I want to also mention there is a newspaper, a local newspaper here called the Vista, and some of you may not have been familiar with it. It is very helpful. It has a lot of information, and it comes out once a week. So if you get online and look for the Vista, it really is a helpful newspaper to learn all about Bella Vista. The other thing, the farmers market is going to start tomorrow. It's from 8 till 1 o'clock on Sunday. The Bella Vista Museum table has coupons for a $5 discount. So if you're really serious and want to go to the farmers market, please stop by the table because they do have coupons that would be of interest for you. And then lastly, the Civil War Roundtable is a very successful roundtable here in Bella Vista. And on Thursday, and there, we have a flyer at the museum. On Thursday at the Cooper Elementary School, they are going to be having General Lee and, oh God help me, just Grant, thank you. Grant and Lee are going to be coming, and there's a program starting at 7 o'clock. It is free, it's open to the public. And basically there's information that Dale has for everybody. And it'll be really fun. There's going to be music starting around 6 o'clock. And in the afternoon, there's also some reenactments and things. So it's a very educational meeting, and I think it would really, really will be interesting on this Thursday. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Now I'm going to open this. Tom, you want to take? And if you have a question, Judy over here will give you the microphone.
Questions?
This is for the mayor. You talked about all these upcoming things that are pending, like the sewer and stuff. Natural gas, is that going to be an option in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, that's an interesting question. We had the natural gas company approach us a few years ago, and the reason was they were going to run a line for, there's going to be a restaurant, how to describe this, it's just north of Walgreens, there's a little shopping center. There's going to be a restaurant in there that wanted natural gas. And so we gave them permission to run the line, and then contractually with the owner, something happened and the restaurant wasn't in there. But so yeah, we're open to having natural gas here. And I talked to the folks at the time from the gas company about it. And so we're open to it. It's not, I'd say widespread plans are not imminent.
Is there anything prohibiting flags on houses? Do they have to be on poles in the yard?
I don't know of a rule about it. I'll check with the ACC.
So no, there's not any rules. You can have flags. You can have them on your house on a pole or anything like that. The only thing that we do restrict as the ACC is things that are vulgar, profanity. We've actually had to pursue that. So yeah, but otherwise, no, there's no rules. Please, yeah, fly them away.
You gotta get a permit or anything for putting up a flagpole or get it cleared?
No, we don't have it for flagpole either. If you go And if it's something that's gonna be really large, then the city might request something as far as like if you have to have a foundation for it, that might be getting into more of a permit, but for us, either way, we don't.
So my question is, I have a new construction, and there's a couple of really scraggly they might be even conjoined at the bottom, but scraggly oak trees in the front yard. And I'd like to put in a beautiful tree instead. And I'm just wondering if there's rules regarding that, like taking down the oak trees and putting up a nice looking tree instead.
Yeah, okay. I was like, where's Taylor?
Yeah, we actually have somebody from planning that knows more about this than I do, but we made some rules about trees a few years ago, and if you're on sewer, I believe you have to keep 25% of the wooded portion. If you're on septic, I think you have to have 2 trees in the front yard, but that can be preserving trees or planting new ones. So if you have a tree that's a problem like that, I'd have to ask Chris Hyatt over there, but I think that would probably be okay if you're going to plant one. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, again, we have all this. We just ask that you plant native, prioritize native species. But yeah, I mean, it's your property, you can plant your trees if you wish. Just call before you dig. We don't take utilities, but other than that.
Thank you, Chris.
You hear me all right? Unfortunately. Okay. Well, just to clarify on roads throughout town, they're all open, I'm talking paved roads for bicycles. You get kind of mixed reactions from drivers when you're on a bike on those windy roads. I know it can be a little dangerous, but any advice or restrictions you can elaborate on?
Every once in a while I get a question from someone who thinks, well, you ought to make a rule against bikes on this road or that road. And that all those laws are state laws, and they are preempted. So, you know, we literally couldn't come in and make different rules about highways. And generally, my opinion about how to drive is, you know, to drive defensively. And what typically happens is a bike will be on there, and you need to, you know, drive slower or not hit them, obviously. And a lot of times it's in a no passing zone, so it's a challenge to pass, you know, with the curves and all that. So you should only pass when it's safe to do so. So it's mainly, when I was talking about that before, it's particularly the main roads that it's a challenge on, the collector streets, that you know, that's why we'd like to get more side paths going. It's very expensive, but we're going to try to whittle away at it. So, but you know, it's a matter of state law. Bikes actually is treated a lot like a car under state law. So.
Hi, are there any conversations or maybe future plans happening around schools in the area? Particularly thinking about the west side of Bella Vista, where that's in the Gravette district. It's a bit of a drive for those of us.
Yeah, I can tell you a little background about that. A number of years ago, right across from the Catholic Church, there's a big open, and there was a plan to put a school there. And it was on the ballot in Gravette, and it lost. And there was frankly, there were some influential people in Gravette who campaigned against it rather actively. That was long before I was mayor, but I think I was on city council at the time. Anyway, I know Gravette bought some property that's just outside of Bella Vista, very close to it, with the thought they might conceivably put a school there someday. I made an effort a couple of years ago to get a charter school on the near west side, which I think would be a huge success, because it would be, you know, close for the Gravette people, and even some of the people on the Bentonville side Bentonville has good schools, but it's pretty, once you get past 4th grade, you know, they're busing them into Old High, which is pretty far in there. And I actually spoke to the superintendent of Bentonville Schools because I had some parents mention to me back when Peter Christie was mayor, the school's got some land very far north in Bentonville that's really close to Bella Vista. And he was hoping they'd put a school on there, and they haven't. They put a warehouse there. And so when I talked to the superintendent, Dr. Debbie Jones, who I think quite a lot of, she basically said, well, Bentonville Schools has a problem in that there's all these schools built that are close in. It's not just Bella Vista, and people further out, you know, it's been built further out all around. And so that's why she came up with this idea of having kind of magnet schools on the elementary level, where, you know, rather than build a new school, we'll make the school attractive so people will come into it. But it's, which I thought was clever. But the last time she built a school, it was an elementary school. It's called Vaughn. It cost $30 million. So when, you know, there's one guy in Bella Vista that's kind of outspoken, and he thought it'd be a great idea to have schools in Bella Vista. Well, first of all, we hardly have any flat land, and second, you know, it's odd to me because Bentonville's the #1 school system in the state, not counting charter schools. And Gravette, I think, is a lot of people are happy with it. It's rapidly improving school. So building new schools in Bella Vista would be completely irrational, in my opinion. So, but I thought the charter school was a great compromise way to do it, and hasn't happened yet, but it may happen someday. So, sorry for the long-winded answer.
Hi, Mayor Finn. Thank you, everyone, for setting up the forum today. So the question I've got is bike trails on the west side, Highlands. Is there a bike trail master plan that we can kind of maybe go to and kind of see what's coming?
That's a good question. I'm sure Tom's aware of this also. They had a long-term plan, I think goes back maybe even 2015, goes back a ways, and the plan had to do with trails on the far west side, and I'm talking soft surface trails mainly, and that's still out there. I think that still conceivably could happen, and some people are disappointed it hasn't happened yet, I'm sure, but I think it's a viable idea. You know, as I mentioned, there's a little bit of a pivot. You know, all kinds of different things happened, and one of the things that happened in my view, with Blue Crane and Walton-related folks, you know, you can only do so many things at once, and this bike park was a big thing. So kind of when you're doing that, maybe you back off a little on some. Plus, they're doing a lot of things not in Bella Vista, I mean, all over the region. And so I think kind of they come and go sometimes what they're emphasizing. You know, you kind of have to focus on something to get it up and running. And as I mentioned, they do have kind of a pivot toward hard surface now, which I kind of agree with. I think it would be nice if people could get from point A to point B, but that plan's still out there, and I imagine, in fact, I think we're doing something right now where, you know, they redo the plans regionally and citywide. I think it's been 10 years or something, and we're redoing our plan right now. We got a grant to redo our trail, update it, so to speak, because things change. So there may be more news coming on that, but.
We'll make this one the last one.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint, I actually have two. One for the city. I know you had mentioned the walking side paths that were getting worked on, and you had also mentioned that certain roads are better for it than others. Is there any plan on the roads that may not have it better than others on certain areas to potentially terraform the side of the road to allow for that in the long term, or is it going to be highly focused on just where it's accessible?
Oh, no, I think anything's conceivable, really, yeah. One of the things that's happening is, you know, the Razorback Greenway, that the Blowing Springs offshoot that goes out to Metfield, we put in for a grant to extend that, and that's been a plan that was out there for a while to go down Commonwealth, hang around right on Trafalgar. That's amazingly expensive. So I'm thinking it would be smart to have some less expensive kind of side path ideas also. But yeah, I think it's conceivable on any street. And there's a debate internally. Some people, you know how some people have a street and then they make it a little extra wider and then there's a picture of a bike on there. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think it's safe, particularly with our curvy roads. I like the idea of it being separate, but you know, there's all kinds of different things I think that may be entertained. Yeah, but yeah, I think and the other thing is a couple of the big roads are state highways. So you have to get them involved to do anything, but they've been pretty amenable. We actually are undergoing a study right now. We got a grant to do a study on 71. And I think the idea is to get some paths along there and then spider them out to some of the side roads. But I'm learning in the city, things don't happen super fast sometimes.
Wonderful. Wonderful, thank you. And then this is more of a POA question, but has there ever been thought put into putting a food option at the Metfield Center where the Dogwood and Brittany courses are? We really appreciate the food options at the other courses, and I just noticed there wasn't one there since we've been there, so didn't know if that was something that had been ever thought of.
Probably nothing in the near future.
Okay.
There was a restaurant there way back in the day, like maybe 15 years ago, and it doesn't, you know, people will say, well, why does it work up at Highlands, and what about Metfield? Well, Metfield is really close to, you can get to Bentonville, you can get to Rogers from Metfield pretty easily, where Highlands is kind of its own little island, and that's why that works out there. The other thing is, when they did the renovations 15 years ago to Metfield, they removed the kitchen and the hood. The most expensive thing in a restaurant is the hood system. And so, and the reality is that is our smallest fitness center, and that fitness center is currently not meeting the needs of our membership. We need to expand that. And that's also where we have member resources. So we have member resources on the east side and the west side. So I don't anticipate adding a restaurant there anytime soon, because it would require a major expansion to that building, and that would be very costly.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure.
What about the food trucks? Invite food trucks to camp out there. At Blowing Springs, they've got 3 food trucks.
The food truck thing only works if they're going to be there on a if customers are going to be there on a consistent basis. Where at Metfield, you have golfers that just come on, you know, on an 8-minute basis. So it really wouldn't work. We have a coffee truck at Tanyard Creek. Been there about 2 years. It's been kind of an experiment, and they've been pretty happy with how that's going. So. And you know, years ago when we first opened the Gear Garden, we didn't have any food trucks, and now we have several, and that's working. So could I envision an expansion of food trucks at other locations? Absolutely. I think, but we're kind of taking baby steps in that direction. But I think we're heading in the right direction. But a full-scale restaurant, I'd say not in the next 10 years. But we're going to do the raffle now.
Yeah. Rhonda, you want to bring up, did everyone get a raffle ticket? Okay. Oh, yeah.
Also, just to remind everybody that the mayor, Selena, and myself will hang out afterwards. If you have any specific questions, you can always ask us.
We have 5 books we're going to give away, and then I have 2 water bottles from Pedal It Forward. They donated. Also, I want to remind everybody that all the nonprofits are around here. The Gear Garden also is the home of the Bella Vista Community Band, and I know we have a band representative here, but it's a wonderful, wonderful event, 4th of July, Memorial Day, and it's really fun. So if you check the website with the Bella Vista, the POA, but also the Bella Vista Community Band will give you the dates. Okay, you want to draw one?
I will. First ticket. Got to be in the house. If you left, you can't win. I don't need that.
Okay.
384 488. Hold your hand up. One of the runners will bring you a book.
You need this for the TV. You got to do
I need this for the TV.
Oh, no.
Okay, this is another book. 384 494. 384 494. The mouse must have left the house.
Okay.
Here you go. 384 512. 384 512. No winner? Oh my goodness. That's all right. Gives you more chances, guys. Okay, 384 482. 384 482. 384 506. There you go.
One more book. Yeah.
We have one more book left? Two books. 2 more books, and then we'll do water bottles. 384 492. Gentlemen? 384 479. Right up here. Okay, now we're on to 2 water bottles donated by Pedal It Forward. Three 384-502. And the last water bottle. 384-523. 384-523. Gentleman right here in the plaid shirt.
Thank you. There you go. Thank you all so very much for coming, and please feel free to stick around, talk with the different organizations, and Selena and John and Tom are all up here for questions. Thank you.